Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the annual town hall meeting of electors of the Thornton Township of Thornton to order. Today is April the 8th, 2025, and it's 6:08 p.m. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In accordance with the state statute, legal notice of the annual meeting was published in three most public places at least 15 days before the meeting. The notice of meetings were published at the Thornton Township South Holland Building, the Riverdale Building, Calumet City Building, and in the Shoppers newspaper and Southtown. For the record, state law limits active participation in the annual town meeting to registered voters residing with Thornton Township. Therefore, anyone wishing to make a motion, second a motion, ask a question, make a comment, or otherwise address the chair must state clearly their name, full name, address, and verification of residency. Now, I would like to have nominations from the floor for a moderator to conduct this meeting. You please come to the mic and say your name and address. And the same thing when you're second motion.
As the moderator for tonight.
I, Casey Nesbitt, second that motion.
Yes, please. Thank you.
15125 Ashland, Harvey, Illinois, 60426.
Are there any other nominations? The nominations are closed. Can I have a voice vote saying yay or nay? First yay to nominate, to approve the nomination for Byron Stanley. All in favor, please say yay. Yay. Those nay, any nays, please say nay. The yays have it. Mr. Stanley, can you please come to the front? Yeah. Can you please raise your right hand? I, and state your name,
I, Byron Stanley,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of moderator
of moderator
at this town meeting
at this town meeting
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Great.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Before we get started, he's going to talk with the attorney. We'll give you a little information on what you need. Okay, so you have your own? Oh, okay. Well,
All right. So the next item on the agenda is the motion to approve the minutes of the annual town meeting held on April 9th, 2024, as posted by the township clerk. Is there a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
Before, I'm sorry, moderator, but anyone who wants to make a motion and second, they have to come to the mic, please. Thank you.
My name is Stephanie Wiedemann. My address is 21 Mohawk in Thornton, and I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the board meeting on April 9th, 2024.
Valerie Stubbs, 14801 Martin Luther King, Dalton, Illinois. I second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Right. Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. The motion carries. All right. We'll now hear the 2025 financial reports. I invite a representative from the Finance Department to present the following fund reports: General Assistance Fund, General Fund, Road and Bridge Fund.
Hi, my name, is this on? Hello. Hi, my name is Lauren Flugrat. I am from John Casper Company in Calumet City. I am here to present the annual town report as prepared by the finance director. Unfortunately, he was not able to be here today due to illness. So if there's any questions on this report, I would ask for you to direct them to the finance director, as he was the one who prepared the report. Yes, Robert Hunt. So, the total real estate tax revenue was $9,651,086.95. The total miscellaneous revenue was $707,941.80, totaling for the general assistance fund revenue to be $10,359,028.75. The administration division total expenditures were $3,456,897.26. The relief division expenses were $336,902.76. The total food pantry expenses were $1,743,864.12, making the total expenditures $5,537,664.14. The total net change in fund balance was an increase of fund balance of $4,821,364.61. The total assets in the general assistance fund were $26,965,322.26. The total liabilities were $8,780,578.45, and the total ending fund balance was $18,184,743.81. The total cash on hand as of February 28th, 2025 was $3,514,763.30. And the total investments on hand as of February 28th, 2025 was $8,631,883.83. The total the 2024 General Assistance Fund tax levy was $7,650,473, and the total amount of outstanding town indebtedness is $124,039.75. And that is the summary for the General Assistance Fund. All right. All right, so then for the town fund, the total real estate tax revenue was $8,453,000.
Lauren,
Oh, you want me to wait? Okay, sorry.
Are there any questions in regards to the General Assistance Fund?
Yes, there was a surplus. Oh, sorry, let me just flip back to that page, I apologize. So the total surplus of revenues over expenses was $4,821,364.61. That's the General Assistance Fund. No problem.
Can I have a motion to accept the report on file?
And just for the benefit of the public, it's not to accept the report to say that everything in there is true and accurate, because, obviously, I don't know if anybody has any questions on it. It is really a motion to say that this is the report that was presented at today's meeting, and it will be accepted on file.
I'm Teresa Cameron. I'm a resident of Harvey, Illinois. I live at 14520 Sangamon Street, Harvey, Illinois. And I motion that we accept the report as given to us.
Nate Fields, I'm a resident of South Holland, Illinois, 15475 Merrill Avenue, and I second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Nay.
At this time, since we really couldn't tell based upon the voice vote, it's recommended that we do a paddle count. So we're going to redo that, and the moderator here will call for the ayes again. And if everybody that's voting aye, could please raise their paddle nice and high. And anybody that's voting nay will also then raise their paddle nice and high once we get to that.
All in favor, please raise your paddle. The motion to accept it is written, correct? Yes.
Absolutely. So,
Yes,
so
definitely.
just, again, to remind everybody, this is not to say that you agree with the contents of the report. This is to say that this is the report that was presented before you today, and it's going to be accepted on file. Well, yeah, let's get to the vote first. I agree with the clerk, and let's see, and then I can answer the question after that.
So we'll ask again, all in favor, please. Oh, you got a discussion.
You said, let's just get, I agree with the clerk, but we couldn't hear what Clerk Wells said.
Oh, I'm sorry. The clerk had just said, that let's see if it passes first before I answer that question. That was all the clerk had asked.
The question from Mr. Fields was, what happens if it doesn't get accepted on file? And I'll just answer it now. It just means it doesn't get accepted on file. It's not on file, and it could potentially say that you guys didn't, that it wasn't presented properly at this board meeting, which it was, it is being presented at this board meeting. So as the attorney, my recommendation is to accept it on file. Again, that does not mean that you agree with the contents of the report. That just means that this is what was presented at today's board meeting.
Is there any additional discussion? All in favor, please raise your paddle.
Nice and high, everyone. As high as you can go.
You can let your paddles down. All opposed, please raise your paddle. The yeas have it, the motion carries. Okay, now we will move on to the general fund report.
All right, for the general fund, the total real estate tax revenue was $8,453,568.74. The total investment income was $1,123,368.53. The total other income, refunds, and reimbursements was $544,550.31, bringing the total revenue to $10,121,487.58. The total administration division expenditures were $4,616,808.91. The total special services division expenditures were $95,038.75. The HAP division expenses were $899,713.12. The Department Youth Services expenditures were $1,226,480.93. The Transportation Division was $908,117.15. The Community Outreach and Engagement Department was $1,218,850.54. The Senior Services Division was $1,637,408.89. The Cemetery Department was $12,000. The Clerk's Department was $41,279.30. And the Assessor's Division was $369,571.04, bringing the total general fund expenditures to $11,025,268.63, bringing the net change in fund balance to a deficit of $903,781.05. Deficit, yep. The total assets for the general fund were $19,785,140.28. The total liabilities were $14,199,712.28. $20.36, bringing the ending fund balance to $5,585,419.92. The total cash on hand as of February 28th, 2025 was $6,260,549.96. And the total investments on hand as of February 28th, 2025 was $5,816,611.88. The total tax levy for 2024 general fund was $12,995,356, and the total amount of outstanding indebtedness was $278,639.04. It's the total amount of outstanding indebtedness.
Thank you. Is there a motion to accept the general fund report as presented? Is there a motion to accept the general fund report as presented?
Kiana Belcher, 742 Evans Court, Dalton, Illinois. I make a motion to approve the red general fund numbers.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Valerie Stubbs, 14801 Martin Luther King, Dalton, Illinois. I second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
My name is Paul Roberts, 18525 Clyde Avenue in Lansing. I'm sorry to be a gadfly landing in your cooked bowl of porridge, but my question was, before the general assistance was presented, we were informed that there was no one here to answer questions. So why are you asking for questions or discussion? If I am allowed to ask a question, it is to the Kasperick firm. Are you willing to audit this year's report?
Mr. Roberts, if I
What is
can
the
explain,
difference from
these,
last year?
if I can explain, these are unaudited reports. So these reports come, and that's what the statute provides, is that these are unaudited reports. The township undergoes an annual audit, so every year there is an audit of these funds. So there will be an audit, but this is a requirement of the township code that unaudited reports be presented at the annual town meeting, so you guys can get a snapshot of where you're at right now.
But we're being asked whether to accept the report. Aren't we being asked to vote on accepting fact or fiction?
No, you're just being asked to accept that a report was presented and that the report says what it says.
Oh, that's a
It's not-
no-brainer. Why are you asking us?
Well, that's what I was trying to explain at the beginning, is that, you're not voting on whether you agree with the numbers that are in the report, whether the numbers are an accurate reflection, because again, these are unaudited reports, and the statute does provide that unaudited reports get presented at the annual town meeting. So that's why you're being asked to accept it, to put it on file. And then it'll be kept on file with the township. And at the audit time is when all these accounts do get audited, and they do get audited once a year. And those audit reports are uploaded to the comptroller's office.
Okay, so I want to know when it's gonna become permanent record. Why are we voting for something that we don't have what we're supposed to have? We went through this the last time.
I'm sorry, can you step up to the microphone?
We went through this the last time. Why are we voting on stuff that we don't have the initial and the real papers? This is not, if this is not ready, we should not be voting on this.
The statute requires,
I don't care what the statutes require. You're not
I
doing what you're
do,
supposed to
because
do.
I'm a lawyer
I
and
said
bound
I
by
don't.
statute.
I didn't ask what you care about. I
okay,
said, I don't think that it's fair for us to be looking at something that you have not definitely made accountable. I'm back there looking at this paper, rattling through it, finding the numbers. I'm not gonna let you make a fool out of me.
Ma'am, I'm not trying to,
Okay, so
I'm
let's start
explaining
over
to you,
again. Let's start over.
I'm explaining what the
Let's start
statute
over.
requires.
Let's start over.
Kiana Belcher again. For, just for discussion purposes, when this is put into records, it has on hand February 29, 2024. It may be a typo, but dates matter. So please make sure that those dates are corrected because this wasn't a leap year. This has last year's date on there, and this is 2025.
Which page are you referring to? Because there's a couple
12 of
places.
15.
12 or 15?
That's general fund.
So I think that that's a reflection of what was occurred last year.
Okay.
And the bottom total is what is happening now. So
Okay, so
that's to
the-
show you the difference between the numbers from last year and the numbers from this year.
Right, but at the top it says cash on hand. So of last year, the cash on hand was 11 million, or is the cash on hand 11 million for 2025?
Last year. That's my
Okay, so
understanding of how
this-
the report reads.
So the report reads, so as a breakdown of cash on hand, February 28, 2025, would be this year's number.
Correct, the 6
Okay, I just
million.
want clarification so we can make sure that, because it is a little confusing the way it's broke down when it's given last year's information.
Understood,
All right.
understood.
Casey Nesbitt, clarification question. We're not voting to pay these items or to these,
No,
they're
ma'am.
already paid. You're just voting, this is what you're presenting to us. And we're just saying, yes, this is what you presented.
Correct.
Because the trustees have already voted for this.
So yes, correct. Basically, what it is saying is that this is what has already been done, if you will. This is this is supposed to be a reflection, an unaudited reflection of what has been spent, what has been brought in, what the investments have yielded, and so on. So all these things that are detailed in the report, that's supposed to be a snapshot of what's happening right now. And moving forward, once the fiscal year is done and the fiscal year gets audited, any sort of discrepancies would be corrected in the final audit. So this is basically a snapshot of where we're at now. It's as if, you're looking at your own finances and, before you do your taxes, say 6 months prior to do your taxes, you're looking at, okay, where am I at right now? What's my money flow and what's my possible tax liability going to be later? And then later when you do your taxes, that might change. So this is just a snapshot of what's happening now. And again, it is an unaudited report. I do understand that causes people some angst. That's not something that we have any charge over, though. It is what the state statute requires, is that an unaudited report be presented by the supervisor's office with work with the finance department, and this is what's being presented.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Valerie Stubbs, 14801 Chicago Road, Dalton, Illinois. So let me get a little clarity. So allegedly, this is supposed to be correct, and this is what we're voting on. It might change, and it might not change. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes. It's just, all your vote is to say that this is what was presented at the meeting.
This is what you presented to us, and it might not necessarily be right, but it might be right.
Correct. And it'll be confirmed whether it's right or not when you go through the audit.
Okay.
And I mean, this is the way the statute's written,
Yeah.
so we just have to comply with what the statute requires us to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Dan Lee, 15249 Dante Avenue, Dalton, Illinois. In the event that these figures are proved inaccurate, could you kind of walk us through briefly about what happens after that? I mean, if these numbers have been proven to be, say, tampered with, what are the next steps, at least to your knowledge anyway, that happens? And will there be another meeting to confirm the confirmed numbers, or will we be here next year doing this again?
So every year you're going to do this. This is a requirement of the annual town meeting.
I mean, as far as these figures are concerned, is what I'm concerned, what I'm talking about.
These figures will be fleshed out at the audit. with,
Yeah.
when the township does its audit. And the audit does get presented to the board for approval. So when the audit does get presented to the board for approval, which is usually sometime after after the fiscal year has been done.
Which is at what date?
What is your fiscal year? March to February, right? March to February. So I don't know if the audit is in process yet. That would be a question for Mr. Hunt, and unfortunately, he's not here today, so I don't know if the audit is in process. Actually, I can tell you, I do believe the audit is in process, and the reason I say, the reason I say that is because as an attorney, our law firm, if we have any litigation cases that we're handling for the township or any sort of potential liabilities, we get an audit letter requesting us to present certain information to the auditor. We have received and responded to that letters, to the best of my knowledge.
And
So
all
that
the
tells me
board,
that the
yeah,
audit is
and all the
in
boards have
process.
received those letters, so it is in progress.
So,
You say-
so the
You say that,
audit,
you say that tells you the audit is in progress, or?
it is in
It is.
progress.
It is.
Oh, okay, that's,
It is.
I didn't know that. I thought you were still looking for an auditor.
No, I believe that we do have an auditor.
Okey dokey.
So the audit is in process, and the audit will be presented at a board meeting, and it will be made available for the public to review.
Valerie Sills, 14801 Chicago, Martin Luther King. I have one more question for Conspiracy Group. What did she got?
Right here. I just wanted to get out of the way.
So, do you all prepare an annual report to present to the board to show where you need to cut your expenditures at? Do you do that here?
So, sorry, just so I can, everybody hears. We do not show where to cut expenditures because that's ultimately not our decision as an auditor. It's management's decision of where things are gonna get cut. But what we do,
Suggestions, that's what I meant, suggestions.
so our firm is separated by consulting team and auditing team. I'm on the consulting team, so I don't work on the audit side as often. Usually, if there's something that blatantly stand out to us, we'll let the management know, but it's not necessarily anything in a presentation. If you request that of us, that's not saying that we couldn't do that, but that's not typically part of the auditing procedure for any audit or preparer.
Okay. In the village of Dalton,
Okay.
every year, you all prepared and gave it to the board on your suggestions, and let me correct what I said, suggestions on where we should cut the spending or where we can increase the spending.
Okay, so the difference is that that's consulting contract, and you're asking about the audit. We also do have a consulting contract with you guys, so if you guys engage us to help you with that, we could help you with that. But that's not the difference between the audit and the consulting side. So you're asking about audit, that's why
Okay.
the different classification. So yes, we could do that for you, but it wouldn't necessarily be on the audit side of the
Okay, thank you.
And if I may add something, every audit also contains a management letter.
That's
And-
what I meant, the management letter. I
Yes, so
couldn't think of it.
that's what I thought you were talking about.
Yeah, I
Ms.
was
Stubbs.
talking about the management letter.
Yeah, and so the management letter typically says, okay, here's what you're doing right, here's what you're doing wrong, here's where you could fix things, here's some holes in your processes and procedures that need to be plugged up. So it essentially tries to, it doesn't tell you where and how to spend per se, but it tells you how to track things better so that you are more accountable.
Exactly, and you all didn't do that for the township.
So our firm for the 24 audit, once again, I was not on that audit, so I don't know what that letter contains, because I am on the consulting side. But yes, we did prepare one of those management letters for 2024.
Yeah, management letters are typically, they accompany almost every single audit I have ever seen in my 20-plus years of practicing in this area, so I don't think I've ever seen an audit without a management letter. And so, yeah, I mean, and some of them are 1 or 2 pages, and some of them are 20 to 30.
Exactly.
So,
It is a requirement, even if there is no, like, if there is no suggestions, that it just says, we've got, we have no suggestions.
And you have no idea whether or not they prepared one
No, I
for
do know
Thornton
they-
Township.
I do know they prepared one, I just don't know what it says, because I didn't. because I didn't work on the audit.
Okay, is it possible that can be presented to the residents of Thornton Township?
That would be a discussion with the trustees side. I can't determine what gets released, that's not our role, so that would be a later.
I believe, I was just consulting with the clerk. I do believe that the audit, the audit packet, which should contain the management letter,
Right.
should be on the website. If it's not, we'll confirm and see if. Yeah, the clerk thinks it is on the website. If
She
it's
thinks
not,
it, she think it is?
It is.
Oh, okay, thank you.
so, and also, another place to find any sort of audits that have been filed is the Illinois Comptroller's Office. You can find it for any unit of government. So that
Okay,
is
thank
always a great resource.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any additional discussion?
Yes, I have some questions. And I haven't had the time to go through everything, but I just have some questions. I might have more later, but for now, what is the TT Foundation? The Thornton Township Foundation that we paid $57,000?
So a lot of times, and this happens with a lot of different other townships as well as park districts, libraries and stuff like that, it's sort of a fundraising arm to allow for additional money to come in that's not coming through the taxpayers. So, for instance, like the Thornton Township Foundation, again, it's a fundraising arm to allow the how can I, I'm just trying to find the right words. Okay, actually, okay, yeah. Thank you. I'm blanking on the words, I apologize.
So what happens with some grants is that, sorry, getting, I want to make sure I have the mic. So what happens is there's certain grants that can't come to government bodies, but they can come for non-for-profits. So if you have a non-for-profit, which Thornton Township Foundation is, then you can receive additional funds to do like food pantries and that kind of stuff. So it's basically other way to get additional funds to help the residents.
So what was the expenditure to them? That seems like that's money coming in. This is going out. So I'm curious.
So the money going out, so a lot of the times with the expenditures going out would be like if the township paid for some food to go into the pantry. I don't know.
That's a different item.
Okay, so I did not prepare this report, so I'm not 100% sure what's in there. So I'd have to look at the GL to be able
So
to.
it's on page 4 of the general assistant. Hold on, to see which report. Because, and the only reason is, there doesn't seem to be anybody who can answer the question. I'm going to carry on with my other questions. But, like I said, I understand explanation, but
Yeah.
that's money coming in. We're showing that as money going out.
Correct. Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
And I would
What I was
suggest also if
saying
there's,
is-
and certainly go on with your questions, but I would also suggest that if there's any questions that we up here are unable to answer, and we do apologize, we just don't, we're not the people that drafted the report.
Okay, but you're
but if
asking me to
there-
vote on it. But,
No, we're
okay,
just
let me go
asking
on
you to
with my
vote
next
on
question.
accepting the report. We're not asking you to vote on whether everything in there is accurate. We're just saying that this is what was presented at the board, at the meeting today. So,
Okay.
if there are questions that you guys have that we cannot answer, I do suggest that you forward those questions to the finance director and ask those questions directly, or also you can file Freedom of Information Act requests too.
Okay, next question. Who's our auditor?
Kasparik's office.
Kasparik's still the auditor? Okay. And I had a question. What is outreach? Can anybody answer that? It's under community and outreach and engagement for $269,000. What is outreach outside of all the other things that are listed?
I mean, I don't know exactly what that would be, what that would entail, but outreach, just as a general principle, is to try and get more people to participate in a specific program or service. That's my understanding of what that means, but I don't know that exactly.
Okay. So I did see a payment of $1 million and some change. I'm assuming that's interest toward the loan. I don't know which one it's on. but I think we originally had that loan out for 5 million or something like that. What's the balance on it at this point? I mean,
That would be a question for Director Hunt.
okay, so, okay, all right.
So I'm back again. I want to ask you, why are you asking us to vote on this and it's not accurate? I mean, when the trustees come in, they're gonna pick up this crap that you're trying to sell to us. They're gonna be already sitting in office. Why don't you get it straight first? Bring it back to us in March. We don't want it now. I don't. Everybody else gonna go for these numbers? Good for you. But for me, no. Because the trustees that's coming in now is picking up the old trash that's here already. They don't need this. Just get it straight, bring it back to us in March.
Okay. Ms. Vaughn?
Mary Avon, 15101 Blackstone in Dalton. I have a question and a statement. Mary Avon, 15101 Blackstone, Dalton. Is Mr. Hunt the only person in finance that could have spoken to this? Is it a one-man office, or, I'm curious.
I know that he is the one that drafted the report. I don't know if there was anybody else available in his office. So it was a bit of a scramble to find somebody to be able to present it. And that's why somebody from Kasperik's office is here, because at least they understand the numbers. They didn't prepare the numbers, but they understand how.
And I have a little bit of a problem with that, because they're the auditors, and I would think, if anything, an auditor would have gone over this and been prepared to answer our questions. That was my statement.
Well, they were just asked today because we just
And
found out
that's a
today
problem,
that.
because
well,
this meeting was posted when?
Right, but Mr.
And
Hunt
Mr.
just.
Hunt took sick today?
Yeah, Mr. Hunt just informed everybody that he was sick today.
Make it
so-
make sense. We should not accept even what is presented to us. Because I could have run these numbers off on the Xerox machine. Thank you.
Okay. Any additional discussion? All right.
Thank you.
All in favor of accepting the, you got one more?
Carmen Carlisle, 14643 Kenwood, Dalton. I just have a question. I know it's a lot of back and forth going on, but just from my understanding, I know they have these town halls every year. So next year, when they have the town hall, will it still be unaudited numbers, and will it still be the same presentation? They get the unaudited information, and then it'll get audited later, so it's the same every year?
Yes, and it's the requirement of the statute.
Okay.
And I mean, believe me, it would be much more preferable to have the audited reports done so we don't have so many questions and concerns and we have exact numbers, but this is meant to be a snapshot of where the administration believes things are at right now.
And the reason they do this now is because it's a state statute, so they couldn't wait until after the audit to do
Correct.
this process?
Correct.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any additional discussion? Okay, all in favor of accepting the general fund report, please raise your paddle. All right, you can let your paddles down. All those not in favor of accepting the general fund report. All those not in favor of accepting the general fund report, please raise your paddle. Thank you. You can lower your paddles. Now we'll have the Road and Bridge Fund.
What was the result?
The motion failed.
Yes, all of these reports were prepared by Rob Hunt. Sorry, I've gotten the question a couple times, so I want to make sure. I've gotten the question every time I've walked back and walked forward, so I figured I'd clarify. So the real estate tax revenue was $729,197.71. The replacement tax revenue was $25,608.59. The total investment income was $106,096.57. The total other income was $48,099.24, bringing the total road and bridge revenue to $909,002.11. The total administration department expenditures were $94,534.28. The total maintenance expenditures were $25,631.34. The total permanent road expenditures were $208,465.96, bringing the total road and bridge expenditures to $328,631.58, bringing the total net change in fund balance to $580,370.53. The total assets were $3,291,513.01. The total liabilities were $729,301.66. And then the ending fund balance was $2,562,211.35. The total cash on hand as of February 28th, 2025 was $943,388.36. And the total investments on hand were $1,624,473.83. The total 2024 Road and Bridge Fund tax levy was $883,946. And the total of the indebtedness was $37,262.45. Also, you will find on page 13 that there is a list of tools, machinery, equipment that are valued at excess of $200, listed with the description, the VIN number, and what condition these assets are.
Thank you. Is there a motion to accept the Road and Bridge Fund as presented?
Motion and second, and then
Motion and second.
discussion.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the Road and Bridge Fund, Valerie Stubbs, 14801 Chicago Road. I keep saying Chicago Road. King Drive, Dalton, Illinois.
Is there a second?
Dan Lee, 15249 Dante, Dalton, Illinois. For the purposes of us getting out of here tonight, I'd like to second that motion.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
So I would like to ask the question, in the event the residents don't accept this road and bridge, will there be any penalty to Thornton Township for anyone that we have not accepted, we voted no on?
No, there's really no penalty that I'm aware of. It would not be placed technically on file. It would still basically be a public record, but it would have a notation on there that would say not accepted on file at annual town meeting on today's date.
Thank you.
Kiana Belcher, 742 Evans Court, Dalton, Illinois. On page 7 of 13, it has the administration expenditures, and it has salaries as $5,561.26. That's for an entire year?
I'm sorry?
That's for an entire year?
That's my understanding. It's supposed to be, yeah, that's the way it's reflected.
The salary is $5,561.26.
I don't know if that includes the pay for the highway commissioner himself, or if that's somewhere reflected maybe in the general fund. But yeah, that is what was presented by Director Hunt.
Okay, thank you.
Nate Fields, South Holland, Illinois, 15475 Merrill Avenue. The question that was asked, if we don't approve the numbers, it won't show on public record, but you said that it will show on some public record with a notation, right?
So under the Local Records Act, the township is required to keep certain public records until they're allowed to destroy them pursuant to certain requests and provisions that are found in the Local Records Act. And this would still be considered a public record. It would just have a notation on it that it was not accepted on file at today's annual town meeting.
Okay, so if it's going to appear on public record anyway, will we be able to search this information up as normal if we were to not vote on it today? If it's a public, if we're voting for it to appear on public record and we're not voting as well, will it still appear as if we were going to search for it just like any other record, even if we don't pass it today? You see what I'm saying?
In my opinion, it would still be a FOIA-able document. It's
FOIA-able.
also currently on the township's website as a township record, so I don't see why it would not be.
Okay, because I'm just concerned that we won't be able to search it later as we would anything else. That means that the new administration would be able to come in and rearrange the numbers if we can't find what we're looking for. Of course, we can always FOIA it. Of course, we don't know if we're going to get it, but, you know, I just think it'd be feasible if we're able to search it just like any other record. But I wanted to make sure it's clear that the residents can see what we had in 2024, at least what we went through up until 2025, versus where it's going to be for the remainder of this this next year coming in. So,
Thank you. Is there any additional discussion?
Yes, so the question was, what you guys have in the packet, is that the same thing that's online? And the answer is yes.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the Road and Bridge Fund report as presented, please raise your paddle.
Please raise them nice and high. I see some low paddles there. Okay, 20.
All those opposed to accepting the Road and Bridge Fund, please raise your paddles nice and high.
Are you up, ma'am?
Motion carries. All right. All right, the next item is a motion to place a referendum question on the March 17th, 2026 primary election ballot. The proposed question reads as follows. Shall the state of Illinois, which has the second highest property taxes in the nation, deliver annual property tax rebates to the more than 3 million residential property taxpayers in Illinois? Sorry. I'll start over. The next item is a motion to place a referendum question on the March 17, 2026 primary election ballot. The proposed question reads as follows: Shall the state of Illinois, which has the second highest property taxes in the nation, deliver annual property tax rebates to the more than 3 million residential property taxpayers in Illinois, as provided for in the Illinois Property Tax Relief Fund Act of 2019? Is there a motion to approve the placement of this question on the ballot?
And if I may also, just to give a little bit of background before we get the motion, this is an advisory question, and which means that it's not binding, but it's basically polling the residents. If it gets on the ballot, it's polling the residents to say, do you agree with this or do you not agree with this? And in addition to that, the way, just so everybody understands, the way that this got placed on the agenda, the way that it got placed on the agenda was a document with a request for this question to be on the agenda was signed by 15 or more electors of the township.
Casey Nesbitt, 15125 Ashland, Harvey, Illinois. I move that we place this referendum on the ballot.
Valerie Stubbs, 14801, Martin Luther King, Dalton, Illinois. I second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Okay. So then just say that there's nothing, just skip to the.
There's nothing to discuss in regards to the resolution to dispose of personal property, so we will skip that item.
And just to be clear, that means there is no resolution. No resolution for the disposal of property. There's no resolution. There's no there's nothing proposed. There's no proposal right now from to dispose of property, so there's no resolution. So there's no action needed on that whatsoever. No.
We don't have any.
Under law, you can't just dispose of property without going through, you have to approve a resolution. So what we're saying is that there is no property that the township officials, the current township officials, are seeking to dispose of, so there is no resolution. So that, we put that on generally as a placeholder because the agenda has to be approved so far in advance. So there is nothing for that item. That's why that item is being skipped.
Okay, we'll now schedule the next annual township meeting. Is there a motion to schedule the 2026 annual township meeting for Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 at 6:00 p.m.? We need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we schedule the next town hall meeting for the date that you stated.
Tuesday, April 14th, 2026.
Thank you.
Natalie Dilworth, 630 East 144th Place, Dalton, Illinois, and I do second that emotion.
Thank
That
you.
motion.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? All opposed? The motion carries. Okay. So we now open the floor for public comments. Please approach the microphone, state your name, and please try to limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Thank you.
And also, just to let everyone know, there is, after this meeting, there is another meeting at 7 p.m. That's the regular board meeting. And there will also be a public comment period during the regular board meeting as well.
Did you say sign in or I can walk up?
You can just walk up.
Just come on up now.
All right. My name is Naomi Lopresto. I'm at 667 Ann in Dalton. I'm not? No.
Just a little closer to the mic, please.
Oh, okay. Am I personal now? All right. I walked in probably at the end of this, but I want to know why did you agree on the Department of Youth Services? isn't that supposed to be Kamal's, little area? So why did everybody vote yes for that? Can somebody,
There was no vote on
I
the-
want to know why we voted, why didn't no one question about Department of Youth Services? So when we come back April the 3rd, whatever that is, this is going to change? It won't be the same? Next year?
So next year, there'll be a whole nother report that'll be similar to this. It'll be unaudited. It'll be different numbers, obviously, because it'll be different things that may have happened, different administration. They may cut certain things, they may add certain things. So the report will be similar in form, possibly, but different in content.
Well, I want you to let you know, you got away real good this time.
I'm sorry?
Y'all got away real good this time. That's what I said. Y'all got away real good
I
this
don't
time.
understand why you-
Because so I don't know the numbers from last year to compare to this year, for one thing. Next of all, I hope next year that everything be more in order. Do not come presenting us with stuff that you have not looked at. We are not at a candy store. You are not going to continue to come doing, and I pray that you're not here next time. You need to be gone.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there any additional public comment? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
My name's Nate Fields, 15475. I motion to adjourn the meeting.
I see a second.
And I'm LaSharon Carter, 16301 Kenwood, and I second it.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor? All opposed? The motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you for all your participation. 7:10 p.m. Is this what y'all been doing?